Unfortunately, we've had an equipment casualty here in the shop this week, and as you know, when equipment's down, pretty much everything stops until we get it running again. That's what we're going to do today. Welcome back to Cloud 42, I'm James. Before we jump into things this week, I would like to say thank you to a number of you who have posted comments about my weight loss and congratulations and encouragement. It has been quite a journey, and it's something that I've been really glad to be able to share with other people. For those of you who are keeping track, I started in April of this year at 265 pounds, and over the last 8 months, I am now down to 188, which is 77 pounds that I've lost in 8 months. And this has been mostly just through calorie restriction. But at this point, I have reached my goal. I don't need to lose any more, and I am ramping up the calories trying to maintain. And actually, that has been a little bit harder than I thought. I have been eating around 1,500 calories a day to lose the weight. And I've been ramping it up slowly as I'm getting closer to my goal here, and I'm up to 2,600 a day now, and it's looking like maybe that's not even going to be enough. I'm going to have to go up higher than that. At this point, I am lifting, doing some powerlifting 3 days a week, and I'm also running 3 other days a week, and it turns out that burns a lot of energy. Who knew? Anyway, speaking of abrupt segues, like I said in the cold open, we've got equipment down and everything stops until we get that back online. Let's take a look. This is my popcorn popper. This is a genuine Whirly Pop made in the USA, or kind of made in the USA, or marketed in the USA. If you've not seen one of these, it's an aluminum tub. You put in your popcorn, oil, and salt, put it on the stovetop, and then it has a crank that you can turn that spins a wire in the bottom to agitate it while the popcorn pops to keep it from burning. Unfortunately, this is down, and being a crucial piece of equipment here in the shop, we need to take care of this right away. So the way this works is the handle has a crank in it, and then there's a rod that comes in that turns a set of bevel gears. And so I'll just turn it lightly so you can see what happens here. As the handle turns, it's turning this bevel gear, which then turns the bevel gear on the vertical shaft that rotates the agitator in the bottom. But as you can see, the agitator in the bottom does not rotate anymore because it has come completely off. And what has happened, if you look closely at this gear, let me see if I can rotate it so you can see it, or maybe I can get a photo here and put it in where you can see it better. This gear has a D shaft hole through it that fits onto this D shaft with a flat and a little set screw hole on the end of the agitator rod, and it's held on with a set screw. And I don't know if you can see that, but that screw has cracked. These screws are made of nylon, and this one has a crack all the way through it, right through the screw hole. So as the screw tightens down, this just spreads, and eventually the screw pops up over a thread, and so you can't get any tension on that rod. And then further, it's gotten to the point where it's cracked all the way through, so regardless of the screw, the D-shaped hole in here just expands and the rod rotates. So we've got to do something about this. And there are several options. I looked into getting replacement gears, and sure enough, this comes with a 25-year warranty, which they tout on their website. However, after the first 90 days, you have to pay a nominal shipping charge for the gear. So to get this gear, which is a small piece of nylon, shipped to me, I just sort of looked at their website to see what nominal shipping meant to them. Cheapest shipping they have on their website is $10. So $10 shipping to get my free gears. Okay. Well, what are the other options? Because these gears are probably just going to break again if I get more nylon gears. Well, they do make it now with metal gears, and you can buy a whole new top for this that has a metal gear train, and that's only $10, and then you pay another $10 for shipping. Now, if I were smart, and if I were interested in doing the most economically viable approach here, that's what I'd do. I'd pay the $10 and get another top with the gears, and get the metal gears, and then pay another $10 or $15 to have that shipped to me, and then I'd be set and I'd have the metal gears and we'd be good. But you probably know that I don't roll that way. This is actually an interesting problem to see if I can figure out how to fix this myself without paying and waiting for the parts to be shipped. Is this economically feasible to fix this, to actually spend time trying to repair these little plastic gears? No, of course not, but that's not really the point, is it? This is something that I can fix myself right here in the shop with a few minutes of my time, so I'm going to. It'd probably be smarter to pay $10 and get the replacement parts and move on with my life, but I want popcorn now, so I'm going to go ahead and fix this. And to be honest, I probably got this from my grandpa, the idea of just, I can fix it, so I should fix it. I shouldn't throw it away. I shouldn't buy new parts. I should just fix it myself. My grandpa was a farmer, and I spent a lot of time with him in the summers out on the farm, and he fixed everything. He kept the equipment on the farm running. I watched him weld up a hole in a tractor engine block that had broken due to freezing. I watched him fix a sugar beet dump truck that had blown the engine. He bought another truck, cut the front half of it off, welded the frame together, and made a new truck out of the two. And so this is just kind of, I guess, in my blood, and it's just something that I've always been fascinated. I have fixed a refrigerator with pieces from an erector set. You know, this is just kind of what I do, and I enjoy doing it, so let's see what we can do. So the problem is that this gear has split. So what are our options here? Could try gluing it. Glue is not going to work here. This is nylon. The glue's not going to hold. It's just going to break again as soon as there's any pressure on this at all. I thought about, maybe running wire around this and winding it up tightly, and then maybe, soaking that with super glue or nylon twine and wrapping it, and then trying to immobilize that with glue or epoxy or something, and realize what I really need, the problem again is it's splitting and spreading. So if I was going to wrap it to hold it together, why not just make a metal collar that presses onto this? So the one remaining question here, assuming I'm going to put a collar around this to compress this and hold it together, is what do I do about the screw? These are M4 threads, but there's a crack through this already, and I don't want to put any more stress on this than I have to. And the other gear that's in here actually has a circumferential crack that's spreading out in this direction that goes around the gear. And if I continue to try to use the threads in the gear in that case, it'll try to split the bottom half of the gear off, and the collar won't do anything to retain that. So I think I don't want to use these threads. I think what I would rather do is put threads in the collar and use a smaller, this is an M3 screw that will actually go through that hole, but not use the threads in the gear, but actually use the smaller M3 threads that will bear in the metal ring. And the other thing that I think makes that the more practical option is that I actually just drop this screw that's in here and I can't find it. So we'll go with the M3. Let me take some measurements off of this and figure out what size we need to make the collar, and then let's go over the lathe and make it. Okay, I've got a piece of 1-inch aluminum stock here in the lathe, and the first thing I need to do is just turn down the diameter of this to the outside diameter of our part. And I have a carbide tool. This is a polish tool similar to the ones I've used before, but this is a Corloy brand insert. This is one I've never used before. So let's give it a try and see how it goes. Okay, nice and slow. Let's run this much faster. And I hope that's it, because I lost my place on the dial. There we go, 471 and a tenth or two. Okay, now we need some holes in these. Okay, I have the ring here, and we need to drill and tap a hole in the side tapped for M3. We're going to do that here in the mill. I've got the vise set up. I've already got parallel in there, so I can set this on it, and then I have a stop set up here on the side. The idea being that I can position this against the stop, and then later come back with the other part and put it in the same position and not have to zero up on it again. Okay, I've got the mill in high, I've got an edge finder, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find all four sides of this, and we're going to center up the DROs on the middle. Now let's make sure we're centered up here. Just go to G0, X0, Y0. And does that look about right? Yep, that looks centered to me. Okay, first thing we need is a spotting drill. Since we're going into a round surface, we want to spot first. Next, a tap drill. And finally, the M3 tap. That looks good. Now we do the other one. Okay, I think the most important thing in getting these on here is getting the holes lined up with the gear. And I'm just checking to make sure those are going to line up, and it looks pretty good to me. So let me line it up this way and just get the gear started. And then Going to use a punch and a hammer, and we'll just very lightly tap it down. See how we're going. Looks pretty good. Got just a tiny bit more. That looks pretty good to me. Let's see if the screw goes in properly. Oh yeah, that's cleared the inner hole perfectly. There's a 1.5 millimeter wrench. Oh yeah, right into the center. Can you see that? Probably not. Okay, that's one. Let's try the other one. This is the one that's broken more, so it's going to be more of a force fit because it's sprung. Give it some very gentle persuasion on the high side. Okay, we're still lined up. Last thing I want to do after all this work is break it. Okay, and that's the gear bottom, so let me spread the jaws slightly and see if we can sink it just below the bottom. And there it is. Run in this screw. Oh yeah, no resistance at all, right through the inner hole. Okay. There's two reinforced gears. I think those are going to work just fine. Let's go reassemble the popcorn popper. Okay, let's see if I can figure out which one of these is which. Yeah, this is the one that was originally on the handle, so let's put that one back on the handle. Okay, and then, okay, and then I need to feed the agitator through from this side. Just like that. Okay. And how's it gonna work? Oh, look at that. I think you can see down inside, the agitator is turning. Oh, you smell that? Smells like popcorn. Let's go make some. Okay, I've got the popper here on a burner. I'm gonna turn this up to 7 or 8. Put in a little bit of coconut oil. Coconut oil, it always makes the best popcorn. Let that start to melt. Okay, that's nearly melted. Add 1/3 of a cup of popcorn kernels. And a teaspoon of Flavacol. Now at this point I'm just going to keep it moving so it heats evenly. And as soon as we see the first kernel pop, I'll drop the lid on it. Plenty of heat, so we'll turn that off. Let the last few kernels pop here. Grab a bowl and dump it out. Popcorn. That's good. Well, that's it. The popcorn popper is back online, so things can return to normal around here. At least as normal as they get. Thank you for watching. Oh, yeah, that's really good.